Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Today we will be talking about the sampling of the food, means how the sampling of the food is done, beginning with the objective. Okay, let me tell you, sampling involves the selection of a certain portion, number of the containers and product units from a particular lot of the same food. It must be as representative as possible of the whole consignment or from lot. The main objective of the sampling is the samples are usually collected from a lot of the food for random surveillance, collections of the data for a specific purpose or monitoring, and to determine whether the food is unsatisfactory for any reason. The sample may be collected from a factory premises or from the market. Food safety officer, while taking samples of the food for analysis under clause C of subsection 1 of section 47 of the act, or an authorized officer taking sample of imported articles of the food for analysis under subsection 5 of section 47 of the act, on unauthorized act, shall follow the procedure for taking samples and sending them for analysis. When a sample of the food is taken for analysis, the person taking the sample shall give the notice in writing them and there of his intention to have the sample so analyzed to the person from whom he has taken the sample, and simultaneously by appropriate means also to the person whose name, address and other particulars have been disclosed under the rule 3.6 of FSS rule. Okay, what is sample collection? Sample collection, it is an important to clearly define the population that is to be sampled. The population may vary in size from a product lot, a day's production, to this content of a warehouse. Extrapolating information obtained from a sample of a production lot to the population of the lot can be done accurately, but conclusion cannot be drawn from the data describing larger populations such as the whole warehouse. So population may be finite, such as the size of a lot, or infinite, such as the number of the temperature observation made of the lot over time. If we talk about for finite population, sampling provides an estimate of the lot quality, while if we talk about the infinite population, it provides the information about a process. Regardless of the population type, that is finite or infinite, the data is obtained from sampling are compared to a range of acceptable values to ensure the population sampled is within the specification. There are some importance of sampling also. There are three basic activities involved in the analysis of the food product. In the sampling, we have to the collection of a representative samples is done, then sample is prepared, and analysis using appropriate methods and instrument are done. So a sample should represent our populations as adequately as possible. To ensure proper sampling, the analyst need to be consulted time to time concerning proper sample size, suitable containers for sampling, or the use of the appropriate preservatives to prevent any spoilage or transformation in a sample before analysis. One common cause of lack of precision or lab to lab variation in analytical results for a particular population can be tracked back to erroneous sampling. When significant difference in a result occurs among the laboratories which have supposedly analyzed the same sample, a serious conflict may arise, questioning the competence and credibility of the laboratories. So there could be two types of sampling is done. First is your bulk sampling and second is your acceptance sampling. In bulk sampling, it involves the selection of a sample from a lot of material that does not consist of discrete, identifiable or constant unit. Sampling may be performed in static or dynamic situation. Bulk sampling poses special problems requiring certain decisions to be made, the number of increment to be taken, the size of the increments, from where in a pile or streams they should be drawn, the sampling device to be used, and how to reduce the increment taken to a reasonable size of samples of for delivery in the laboratory. If you talk about the acceptance sampling, it differs from the bulk sampling and involves the application of predetermined plan to decide whether a lot of goods meet defined criteria for acceptance or not. The risk of accepting bad or rejecting a good lot are stated in conjunction with one or more parameters. Statistical plans can be designed to regulate the probabilities of rejecting goods lots and accepting the bad lots. There are certain precautions that should be handled in during the sampling. The conditions of the sample received for examination is of the primary importance, and if the samples are improperly collected and mishandled or not representative of the sampled lot, the laboratory result will be meaningless, because the interpretation about a large consignment of the food are based on relatively small samples of the lot. Whenever possible, samples must be submitted to the laboratory in the original unopened container. If the products are in bulk or in the container too large for submission to the laboratory, representative portions must be transferred to sterile containers under aseptic conditions. The number of units that comprises a representative samples from a designated lot of a food must be statistically signified, and you have also maintained clean, dry, leak proof, wide mouthed and sterile container of a size suitable for the sample of the product must be used. Containers such as plastic jars or metal cans that are leak proof may be hermetically sealed. Whenever possible, avoid glass containers which may break and contaminate the food product. Next is your sampling plan. Samples should be collected from a particular plan, following a particular plan or procedure. The FSO or authorized officer should also bear in mind that the capability of the laboratory to carry out the analysis, particularly if the samples are perishable. So the following criteria should be considered in the formulating a sampling plan. We have to check the type of the food. We have to plan out our strategy for taking a sample about the type of the food. This and also we have to see the size of the food articles to be sampled, that is the production unit, cans or packages. We have to see the nature of the defect, that is the bacterial contamination, chemical toxins or residue, and insufficient heat exposure, etc. We have to check the degree of hazards to human health and the potential for fraud, and the acceptance and rejections criteria, that is the absence of pathogen, adulteration, tolerance limit, faulty seams, compositional standards, net quantity, and degree of confidence required so that the test result is valid. So objective sampling must be conducted on a random basis. Each unit should have an equal chance of being picked as a sample. When lots are contaminated or adulterated and defective or in violations in some visible manner, the FSO or authorized officer, after examination of the lot, should select the unit which will most clearly demonstrate the violation. And for this selective procedure, he should choose a sufficient number of units to demonstrate what he found in the lot, alone with a few normal units. Next is your sampling tools and containers. So whenever possible, a sample should consist of an adequate numbers of intact retail containers of the product, and this is not always possible because food products are often transported, stored or sold in bulk containers such as barrels, bags, trucks. Samples collected from bulk packages or unpackaged foods sold at retail must be placed in a suitable container for storage and handling to be presented for laboratory analysis. If you talk about the sampling tools, the tools available to FSO and authorized officer range from the common tools for general purpose to special tools to be used in a specific situation for the specific examination of a particular food products. All sampling equipment must be clean and dry when used to collect the samples, and common tools such as pliers, spoon, screwdriver and knife are useful for opening shipping containers, cutting bags and scooping out food products. A specific probe is needed for sampling railway wagons or lorry loads of dried grains such as wheat and maize. A boot or floor triers is used for sampling elevator boots in a large flour mill or bakery. Isopropyl alcohol or ethyl alcohol should always be carried by FSO and authorized officer in plastic bottles for disinfecting sample tools. Next is your sampling containers. In general, for liquid, the FSO authorized officer should use clean dry containers of appropriate waterproof and greaseproof material, including your glass, stainless metal and suitable plastic material which can be sterilized by heat if necessary. So the container must be secure closure of rubber or plastic stoppers or a screw cap of metal or plastic coated with the insoluble non-absorbent and grease-proof material. The containers and closures must be such as not to influence the odor, flavor, pH or composition of the sample product. Plastic bags or containers should be used for pesticide samples. Sample collection techniques. Okay. In this we talk about the product information. So before collecting any sample, the FSO and authorized officer must observe the lot from which the sample is to be collected and recorded. Relevant observation information obtained should include the following as appropriate. That is, the name of the food should be recorded, noted down, lot size, type of packaging, packing, container size and sizes, product code and control numbers, number of consignment, labeling of information, and conditions of the lot, that is broken package, evidence of the rodent, insect, debris, and general condition of the area or building in which the lot is stored. If the subsamples are packaged food are drawn from the boxes or crates, the sample unit should be marked with the numbers. Corresponding numbers should be written inconspicuously on the boxes or crates together with the FSO and authorized officer initials and dates. The boxes or crates are thus identified as is the entire lot so that they are recognized later if they are resampled. Next is your packing and sealing of the sample. In order to maintain the integrity, the packages containing exhibits should be secured or sealed to prove their authenticity. That is to ensure that they could not have been tampered with or changed from the time they left the FSO or authorized officer hands until they were received at the laboratory. The seals can be self-adhering, specifically printed paper stickers with the space for the date of FSO authorized officer signatures. Other additive substances such as the sealing wax or paraffin that can be imprinted with the special distinctive designs or hologram may also be used. The stopper shall first be securely fastened so as to prevent leakage of the content in transition. The bottle jars or other containers shall then be completely wrapped in fairly strong thick paper The ends of the paper shall be neatly folded in and fixed by means of gums and other adhesive. The outer covering of the packet shall also be marked with the code number and the sample. Next is your dispatch of the sample. After the sample is prepared and sealed, it may be necessary to dispatch it an authorized examination laboratory. The sample must be handled and packaged in such a manner that the subsequent handling will not change its identity or cast doubt on its integrity. So, all samples packed for dispatch must be secured with shock absorbing material to protect them from the damage en route. And samples of the frozen food to be sent overnight may be packed in insulated cartons containing dry ice with that will last that length of time. Since abnormal metals containers such as hard swells may explode in transition, they should be wrapped heavily in paper and cushioning material for dispatching and submitted promptly. When frozen, perishable, or dangerous items are sent, the receiving laboratory should notify the dispatch by telegram or telephone. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have understood how the sampling of a product is done in a food industry. For more information, please log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and follow our ITLS Academy channel at YouTube. Thank you.